Today on Rebel Report, we sit down with Associate Head Coach Owen of the Lady Rebels and recap the team's events from the past week.
Plus, we discuss the NFL top stories, including the trade deadline, as we hit halfway point on the season.
And we sit down with Lady Rebel Center, Keyana Wilfred, for this week's mental health discussion to talk her efforts for UNLV Student Athletes Wellness.
What's going on, Rebels? Welcome to the Rebel Report. I'm Justin Brooks.
And I'm Sebastian Rooney.
Here at Rebel Report, we have exclusive content other media outlets don't have. We'll tell you all about UNLV teams, pro teams, sports events around campus.
We're not just giving you the typical game recaps, but we offer extensive coverage of the ins and outs of sports going on in Vegas. We hold weekly discussion panels about the latest in sports news happening at UNLV with an inside look into the teams. To start the show, we want to pay respects to Raiders Hall of Fame punter Ray Guy. The Raiders have lost one of their own. The Hall of Fame punter passed away at the age of 72. Ray was with the team for all three of their Super Bowl victories, and he was drafted with the 23rd overall pick in 1973. He played his entire career for the Silver and Black. And in 2014, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame exclusively for punting. Our condolences go out to his family.
Now, the Lady Rebels played an exhibition game against Chico State on Wednesday. The reigning Mountain West champs put on a dominant display, topping the Wildcats 114-53. The two-time Mountain West rebounding leaders stayed true to their identity, snagging 57 rebounds. We spoke to Coach Owen and a couple of the ladies on how rebounding as a team, from the bigs to the guards, is a point of focus for the team.
I mean, obviously, it's a huge part of our identity. It's what we've done the last 2 years in the conference. We employ two post players, where a lot of teams in our league play a lot of four guards. If that's going to be the case, then we got to take care of business on the glass and out rebounding. I think we did a really good job of that.
One of our identities is actually rebound. Lindy always says our middle name is rebound. So rebounding is very important to us. It wins us games just like defense does. And, we take that very seriously, and our bigs did the job today, and so did a lot of our guards.
The coaches kept the intensity for the ladies, even when they were up big at half. Coach Owen says the team will keep their foot on the pedal until the clock hits zero.
We're not playing the score, not playing the time. We're trying to play, our basketball to where we're always getting better every day. We tell our kids every day, if you have a good attitude, if you have good effort, good energy, we want to improve and play our best basketball in March. This is just the start of it. So all the way through the horn, 40 minutes, we want to play intense, no matter who's on the floor, no matter the score.
The Lady Rebels take on the Pepperdine Waves for the regular season home opener on Monday, November 7th at 5:15 p.m.
We have even more Lady Rebels coming right at you. Jared Feldman is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Sebastian. The Lady Rebels hosted a carnival and an open practice last week. The event allowed fans to meet the team and see them practice. Coach Lindy LaRock and Desiree Young spoke on the identity of the team for this upcoming season.
I don't think our identity is going to change much. We are focused on scoring in the paint, rebounding, executing. That's kind of the identity of our program. And so, it's going to be a little bit similar. We've got a couple new faces out there and some roles to replace, but, we're up for the challenge.
I think our culture will, never change. We normally just go off our own energy and however we all feel. I think things are still the same. We just added some new members to the team and lost a few old.
Obviously, I'm from Vegas, so being back home and the fan base here, being able to put on for the city and do what I do best in front of my family, it's amazing. I don't think I would want it any other way.
Be prepared, be ready, and just look out for us, and we're going to come back to the March Madness and obviously the conference repeat.
Just be ready to cheer your heads off. That's all I'm going to say. Just be ready to come and cheer. It's going to be some great basketball, so it's going to be a good season.
Appreciate it, Jared. Earlier today, our reporter Chris Clark sat down with the associate head coach Owen. Here are some of the highlights from the conversation.
We have Associate Head Coach Owen here with us today. So just speaking on last season, right? How do you assess last season as a whole? How did you meet your goals? How do you assess it?
I think kind of with our staff being in our second year, we kind of went far and beyond kind of what we thought where we'd be in this timeline, our schedule. doing something that the university, that the program hadn't done in 20 years. I think we met all the expectations that we wanted and more. Obviously, you always want to be greedy and go get another one in the NCAA tournament, but with what the program had been at and where it's at now, we're really satisfied with how we accomplished last year.
And then to progress on from that, how do you see, what are the keys to success this season as far as doing better than what you did last season?
It's tough to do a lot better when you set some records you haven't seen in 20 years, but I think it's more maybe even internal for our own team, just knowing how to be great teammates, how to be great people, and that will lead to success that we need for on the court down the road. For us, it's kind of like I said earlier, is getting back to basics every day and doing that and stay focused. Our team is really talented, really talented, and sometimes they want to have a play that's kind of the crazy expectation and a wild fadeaway jump shot, and they don't always need that. We just need to be really grounded in who we are. And so for us, it's about coming back to being to the basics of our identity and who we are and staying on that.
And then last night you did have a lot of players who definitely stepped up to the plate. Is there a particular player in mind that you think is going to break out this season?
I'm proud of all of them, to be honest. You kind of, I think everybody knows our starters plus NECA from last year, and then you get down on the bench, and I mean, little Keyana Jackson, she is tough, she's dynamic. I think you're going to see a lot of her this year and see a lot of things that she does well. She's even kind of taken her game to another level. She's a lot more assertive in practice. I think just getting stronger physically as well for her has helped her become more confident. And I think she's going to have a lot of minutes and a lot of great moments for the team this year.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us
Thanks
today,
for covering
Coach.
us. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris and Coach. Next up, we break down the season thus far for our Skating Rebels UNLV hockey team. Dom, tell us all about it.
Thank you, Sebastian. Now, the UNLV Skating Rebels, they're heading into an important off weekend before they hit the road to face the University of Colorado, and they head into this series undefeated and still a top team in the country. Now, a major contributor to this success has been the depth scoring on the team coming back and new transfers from junior hockey and other colleges playing a major role. The UNLV Skating Rebels welcomed a long list of new players over the offseason, 2 coming from NCAA competition, and the production from those players on the roster last season that carried them to a Final Four appearance are bolstering up that depth. Nick Flanders, Cole Wyatt, and Bradley Gallant, all returning players from last season. They've been contributing plenty, but goal support in the form of Rob McCollum out of Long Island University and Azaro Tinling out of the Vermont Catamounts have been lifting UNLV to a lot of victories this season. And Tinling himself, he's been finding his way to high danger scoring chances all season, leading to his production this year. He ended up scoring a hat trick against Arizona State in late October, putting up plenty of goals during that game and getting to plenty of high danger scoring chances in the slot. And then in the Vermont transfer, he averaged just about a point per game so far this season, suiting up in the scarlet and gray. And finally, the men between the pipes, the goaltending has taken a huge step forward this season. University of Wisconsin Superior transfer Landon Pavlizin is playing as a solid 1B option. Some can even call him a 1A option, having about 1.5 goals against average and stopping 94% of the shots he's faced through 2 games this season. And the big man in the blue paint, 6'6", Zach Wixon, he's still producing, starting in 5 games this year and giving up about 2.6 goals per game and stopping 92% of the shots he's faced this season. Now, UNLV's series in Colorado begins this weekend. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. both nights. In the studio, I'm Dominic Lavoie. Back to you.
Thanks, Dom. Now, from the ice to ice, let's see how iced out our student athletes are. Reporter Jay Thomas has more.
On the town, on the city, you're walking the strip. What are you wearing?
Comfortable shoes, jean shorts, and a crop top.
Shorts and a crop top. Casual. If it's a little classy, I'll do some dresses and heels.
Probably a crop top and some form of skirt or like fancy shorts.
And what is your pregame go-to fit?
Well, we have to wear suits to our game, but I like to be a little trendy with mine, so I mix it up. I kind of like the 2-piece with different pants with a different like blazer. That's kind of my go-to.
Turtleneck, yes or no?
Absolutely, 100% without question, turtleneck. And it's almost turtleneck season here in UNLV, and I could not be more excited for that.
Go-to game fit? The bummy.
Okay.
Some sweatpants, leggings, t-shirt.
Okay.
You know.
He's a 10, but he only wears Crocs.
That's a 5. I'm sorry. You gotta have different shoes for different occasions. We can't just be wearing Crocs 24/7. Crocs is for after practice. You're just having a lazy day. But we can't wear Crocs 24/7.
She's a 10, but she only wears light up Skechers.
She's a 2. I'm sorry. Light up Skechers. If she cute in the face, we'll do a 6.
She's a 10, but she only wears Skechers.
You know, I play a video game called PGA Tour, and they got a real nice set of Skechers on there, so I'm going to leave it at a 10.
He's a 3, but he has the best shoe game in the world.
5.
What is your favorite item that you guys got for team apparel?
Our Panda Dunks.
Our hat. We got a hat.
Solo.
The Raiders took a tough loss this week in a 0-24 shutout in the hands of the Saints. We go to Diego Escobar to tell us more.
Thanks, Justin. The Raiders are trying to find a way to bounce back from the loss against the Saints that put their record down to 2-5. So let's take a look at some of the key moments from the game that put the Raiders in the position they are in now. The Raiders seem to have a big struggle in the Big Easy, as the offense couldn't even make it past the 50-yard line for the majority of the game. The Raiders' defense struggled too, especially to hold up against the Saints' offense, as well with the Saints beating the team in the air, as well with their ground attack. The Raiders tried to throw off the Saints by running trick plays during the game, but that plan definitely backfired, which leads to the next key for this Raiders loss: turnovers. Turnovers were another issue that led to the Raiders' downfall in this game, and this all leads to the Saints to score 3 separate times, all coming from their running back, Alvin Kamara, who had himself a field day. The Raiders lost this game 0-24. The Raiders look to improve their record to 3-5 against this week's opponent, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And here are the 3 keys the Raiders need in order to succeed. 1, stop the run. The Raiders defense needs to be able to contain the run so that way they can shorten the Jaguars playbook to passing plays where the edge rusher should be able to take down the quarterback. 2, a balanced offense. The run game seemed to have disappeared against the Saints, and we were doing a poor job at throwing the ball. If the Raiders get both going, then it will be Raiders football at its finest. And the 3rd key, better play calling. Sometimes it's better not to overcomplicate things. If Coach McDaniels keeps the game plan simple, teams should run smoothly. If the Raiders follow through with this game plan, the Silver or Black will be ready to attack on Sunday. Also, back to you, Justin Sebastian.
The NFL season is officially at the halfway point. The trade deadline is past us, and we've seen some blockbuster moves. We go to this week's discussion panel to discuss what the rest of the season could look like.
Thanks, Sebastian. So, guys, we are midway through the NFL season, and the trade deadline has just passed, so we decided to have a discussion about it. I'm with Justin, my man Josh, and my podcast partner here, Diego Escobar. So, guys, what trade deadline move has you spicy right now? What move made you guys think this was the best trade deadline move for this year's season?
I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I think the Niners lost this trade.
Really?
And I think they've been losing for the past couple of years. They traded up to get Trey Lance for the draft. You see that's not really working out so far. Also, when they traded to get Christian McCaffrey, you got a guy who is very injury prone. Their team was already struggling with injuries. Also, they gave up a lot of draft picks. So I don't see them, improving anywhere sometime in the future, and they're still hurting at the quarterback position. So I think the Niners lost this trade.
You talk about tight end moving in division. How about TJ Hawkinson going to the Minnesota Vikings from Detroit? I feel like this is a great addition because he has the ability to catch passes and he's got a lot of charisma. I think the Lions really have a hold of Phil now that Hawkinson's gone.
Wide receivers were also on the move too. You had Chase Claypool from the Steelers that went to Chicago. And then you also have Calvin Ridley, who was with Atlanta, suspended for the year from his sports betting scandal, if y'all remember all that. But now he's a Jaguar, which is going to be very nice to see once he's back into the season, or next season, and he's going to be explosive with that Jaguars offense. It's going to be exciting to see.
Definitely. So then now, fellas, what division has surprised you the most?
I think I'm going to speak on behalf of all of us right now. It's going to be the NFC East.
100%.
I mean,
NFC East.
Last year they were the laughingstock. They were fighting. The first place team was fighting to just reach 500, and now they probably have the best record as far as the whole division in the entire NFL. And if you guys want to, pinpoint on some certain teams in the NFC East,
I have personally said when it comes to the NFC East is what the AFC West should have been. With the AFC West getting all those high powers, everyone was expecting it's going to be a bloodbath. Has not even been the case. If anything, it's been very disappointing to see what's come out of the AFC. But the NFC East, the Giants are doing really good in second place. The Eagles, undefeated, of course. Even the Cowboys are still pulling their weight. The Commanders, themselves too. It's impressive, to say the least.
Yeah, when you look at the Commanders, they're 500 right now, 4-4. I feel like Taylor Heineke has done really great jobs at being a leader, and he has just skyrocketed this team. They're starting to get relevant during this whole rebuild phase.
I'm hyping on the Heineke bandwagon. I don't know, Heineke or Wentz?
Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke.
It's always been Heineke because he's been managed to.
Yeah.
He's brought that team to prevalence so many times. He's brought them to playoffs. He's done it well. The fact that they keep benching him for other people is kind of a little disrespectful in my eyes. But there's more that's just going on with the whole Commanders organization as a whole.
Yeah, top to bottom.
Owner wants to sell the team. Now there's like criminal investigation. It's getting pretty wild for those guys down there.
I'm glad you guys are speaking on the NFC East because we do have an undefeated team in the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you guys think they can do it? Could they capture the magic of the Miami Dolphins, or is somebody going to be the one to stop them?
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it. Right now, the sportsbook has them at minus 4,000. So obviously, that's telling you something. The sportsbook knows something. The house is always going to win, and I think it's going to be an in-division rivalry that's going to upset them.
I think this will be a close battle between Dallas or the New York Giants beating them. Regardless of what happens throughout the rest of the season, they could meet them. Either team could be meeting in the playoffs, and they could still lose despite all of the talent they have between Jalen Hurts and all of this amazing defenders that they have on defense.
Right.
It doesn't surprise me. With the remaining schedule that they have, it's fairly easy. They could go 13-0 with no problem, but there's one thing that you got to remember, and Barry, you and I know this from our years of the podcast, any given Sunday. It can go down anytime. They could lose this week for all we know. It could happen. But my bet is I think the Giants and the Cowboys, those inter rivalry games, that's their wake-up call. That's their 2 losses in my eyes. But also, who knows? That team is stacked from top to bottom.
And you also got to take in the fact, if they get to a point where they're 13-0, 14-0, and they already clinched the first seed, they won't have to play all their starters. So that's going to take in the fact for the last couple of weeks as well.
And not only that, if we don't remember what happened to the Steelers of a couple seasons past, they went 11-0, and then they got pimp slapped by, I think it was the
Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah,
one of the Ohio teams.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen this season. We still got eight weeks left to go. And we're going to go over to Sebastian to talk about the XFL, another team coming to Vegas.
Thanks, Barry. On Monday, the XFL announced the 8 teams that are going to be playing in their return season. Among the teams announced was the Vegas Vipers. Formerly the Tampa Bay Vipers, the team looks to perform better than they did in 2020 under new head coach and Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer Rod Woodson. The season is expected to start on February 18th of next year. School here at UNLV is named after famed Las Vegas journalist Hank Greenspun. Let's send it over to the Josh Aaron to talk about the history of Hank Greenspun.
Thanks, Sebastian. Now, on this show, we talk a lot about sports in Southern Nevada, but we do so in a professional journalistic manner. Had it not been for a special man whose name is forever engraved here on the Urban Affairs campus of UNLV, we would never have this show to begin with. I spoke with Gregory Borchard about the history of Hank Greenspun.
When I first heard about Hank Greenspun, it was all about the newspaper, the Las Vegas Sun. Everybody who knew Hank Greenspun gave him a lot of credit for running this newspaper that was pretty fearless. He was not afraid to take on local politicians and mobsters, and he even had a bit of a political career attached to it.
What do you usually tell your students about Hank Greenspun's commitment to investigative journalism?
One of the things I think that probably gets brushed aside is how effective the newspaper can be as a PR tool as well. Hank Greenspun certainly would have promoted his own developments out on the east side of town. And if there was somebody standing in the way, a competitor, he could use the Las Vegas Sun as a way of exposing them.
What does it mean to you when you see Greenspun's name around the building and outside near Greenspun Hall?
It's a good name to be associated with. I'm not sure that many students across the country would know exactly who Hank Greenspun is. But, those who do think highly of him, and I don't know what he would think of us. I guess that's one thing that's kind of made me wonder if he were here today, you know, what kind of advice he would give to faculty and the students as well. I think it's important to try to live up to the name. Otherwise, it's just a name on a building.
And folks, you can watch the full interview on our Rebel Report YouTube channel. Reporting live in studio, I am the Josh Heron. Let's send it back to Justin.
Thanks for that story, the Josh. Next up, Marie talks with Keyana Wilfred about the positive and negative impacts that sports can have on an athlete.
Hi Rebels, we're back for another week of mental health. So I have with me Keyana Wilfred. She's a senior Lady Rebels, and she's going to talk with us today about how sport has helped her out in her life. So my first question for you is, how do you think sport helped you out as you went through school and in your personal life? So the positive impact of sport on your life.
Right. So I'm lucky enough to have a bunch of teammates, and we all have to work together every day. And so just being surrounded by them, building friendships with them, really gets me through every day. Another thing I would have to say is having so much supporting staff. We have 3 mental health sports psychiatrists we can go to. We have a ton of other supporting staff that we can just talk with, and they are all just like family, and they are very supportive.
So the support system is really what did it for you?
Yeah, it did.
That's great. Yeah, I bet. And it's, I mean, it's a way to have friends forever, right? For your
it
whole
really
college.
is, yeah. It's pretty amazing. Very lucky to have such a great group of girls to be surrounded by.
For sure. So now on the other hand, would you say that sport put a strain on your mental health at times? Like, did you have some difficult times dealing with your sport career?
Yeah, definitely. I would have to say that just because basketball is all year round, it can be very stressful just to having to compete and perform every day at the highest level you can. They can definitely have a mental toll, but with the right support system, it's not as hard.
That's good. That's awesome to hear. And so my last question is, I heard that you're part of a mental health committee, right, with other athletes. So tell me a little bit about that and what you guys do together.
Yeah, so we're the Student Athlete Wellness group. We started about a year ago, but I think this year, we really started to kick off. It's just like a bunch of athletes. It doesn't matter what sport. We all come together and we discuss ways to better our university, but also bettering ourselves. So we have discussions every other day, or every other week about how we, just things we're struggling with that I don't think anyone else but other student athletes are able to understand. So it's really nice to talk with other people and see that, oh, it's not just me going through this, someone else is going through this as well. Just another way to make friendships through different sports as well. And then we all come together and we try to spread awareness of mental health. So each sport, we try to have a mental health game. So we were able to go to football, and we had a little quiet moment for Tyler Helinski, who passed, and we were able to hold up the number 3 at the game. So that was really cool.
That's really, really awesome. So is it a committee that is open to all students to join, all student athletes to join?
Yeah, it's mostly for student athletes, yes, and they're all able to join. We have meetings with our sports psychologists for each team, so they usually talk to them about, oh, you're able to join this group as well if you want to. So it's open to anyone at any time.
That's great. So what's the best way for them to find you guys and reach out if they want to?
Definitely talking with their sports psychiatrist or even just their coaches about wanting to join, because really we're so open and we're always telling people to join. And we also have a social media page that they could reach out to as well to figure out when the next meeting is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Keyana.
Thank you for having me.
That was it for this week, and we'll be back next week with more.
Thanks, Marie. It's always great to hear the insight from an athlete's perspective about mental health. Next up, we head into the Miracle League field, where they hold games every week for those with special needs. Marie has more.
Today, we are the Miracle League, and we're giving you another look at what it means to be an athlete right here in the Valley. The Miracle League helps children and adults with disabilities to play sport and realize their dreams.
And today, the league is celebrating Halloween.
So today, the reason why I have this on is it's Halloween weekend, of course, so all the players can dress up in their costume, and then we give a prize to the best costume after each game. So every Saturday we play from 9 to 5. We play 8 games. We have about 280 athletes, so 15 or so on a team. And this season we're growing so fast that we had to add an additional game, so from 4 to 5.
And parents are especially grateful for the league. One mom says the Miracle League is what gave her son confidence.
They become independent and they want to do this on their own. And that's what's so important, for them to understand that, yes, I can do this on my own. That confidence, this place builds their confidence, 100%. They need to get out, all of our kids need to get out here and play every sport possible. Because they can. They can do it. And they are more competitive than regular players. That's what I love about it.
But none of this would be possible without amazing volunteers called buddies. We talked to Lindsay today about what she likes the most about being a buddy.
So we're here generally for the purpose of making sure that they are safe and having a good time, and making sure that they're actually playing, just a little bit of baseball in between. My favorite is the smiles that I get to see on the players' faces, especially the little younger ones, It's just so much joy.
Buddies, along with parents and coaches, allow athletes of all ages like Caleb and Nick to turn into a sport legend every Saturday. The Miracle Leagues hold 8 games every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you also want to become a buddy and be involved in your community, all you need to do is go to miraclelasvegas.com and hit volunteer. Reporting in downtown Las Vegas, I'm Marie Squires.
Thanks for that, Marie. Now it's time for another community spotlight.
For this week's Spotlight, we head into the Pino's Palette, where former NBA player C.J. Watson hosted an event for the Quiet Storm Foundation. Jared Feldman spoke with him.
The Quiet Storm Foundation, co-founded by C.J. Watson, is a non-profit organization that is all about giving back to Las Vegas.
The Quiet Storm Foundation has been in existence for the last 13 years. C.J. Watson and his parents, Kathy and Charles, decided they wanted to do something to give back to the community because C.J. grew up here. He had such a great experience here, and they just wanted to do something to help the Las Vegas community.
Started in 2009, probably 1 year after I was in the NBA, and it's really my parents' initiative. They just always had a heart to give back to the community and their city.
This weekend they held a Halloween-themed paint and sip event at Pino's Palette.
Tonight we're doing a paint and sip to help raise money for the programs that we put on for the Quiet Storm Foundation. People come in here, drink wine, do raffles, and just see their artistic skills if they have any.
Behind this fun event, there is a real vision for this organization.
The vision is to give kids support, to give them joy, to give them hope, to give them faith that they can believe and really accomplish anything they want to do in life. That was my goal when I was a kid, just to believe that I can do anything I wanted to.
In addition to this event, Quiet Storm also hosts an annual basketball summer camp to help underprivileged kids live their passion.
So the goal of the camp is to let kids come and have fun for 3 days. We want to do it to keep the kids off the street, but also just give them free teaching of basketball skills and life knowledge. When I was coming up, all these basketball camps cost a lot of money. My parents couldn't pay for them, so that's why we want to do it for free. But also the experience for me is just to have kids come out there and be able to smile and say I'm having a good time and them really enjoying the camp.
The Foundation's next event is the annual C.J. Watson Black History Essay Contest, which teaches students about Black history and cultural diversity. This event will allow students to win a laptop computer or a scholarship.
That's going to do it for today. Thank you for tuning in.
And before we go, Justin, we saw our student athletes in their fits. I got to say, man, fit today? Kind of fire.
I appreciate it, my man. It's only right that we talked about style, so we had to come right. And I will say we do clean up nice for a couple of anchors.
Yes, sir, we do. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure you listen to our Rebel Report podcast every Saturday on Spotify. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.